my name's Mandy and this is my channel Make It Sew. So today I'm bringing you my sewing chat makes and plans video, and it will be released on Tuesday the 1st of July when I'm away in Florida, but I'm recording it a week earlier and trying to remember the dates so I don't confuse you all. So today I thought I'd talk about my Sew Fruity makes, because obviously being away I won't be able to be sewing up anything else, and I haven't revealed these to you all on YouTube yet, but yesterday I would have revealed them on Instagram as Yvette from Stash Hub and Blossom Sandwich was doing the challenge Sew Fruity for the month of June. I already had a part in the vloggers tour earlier on this month, or should I say last month, because it's now July. So I'd shown you what I was planning to make, and I actually managed to get 3 of those plans done, which I'm really pleased about. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about is the Friday Pattern Company Saguaro set. And I say set because it's the first time I've actually sewn both the top and the pants for my daughter. So I'm going to show you them first, and I'll put some pictures in for you. They might be the ones I took in the UK, or they might be somewhere in Florida, but they look amazing on her, I have to say. So I did the top, and I used this lovely fabric I'd shown you that was called Mini Fruits. It's a cotton double gauze from Pound Fabrics. Again, it won't be able to do it justice on the screen, but I'll show you in the pictures. I had a couple of hiccups with this, not the pattern, me as always. Well, say a couple, one hiccup. So I mentioned in last week's sewing chat video that I had a lot of help when I went to my sewing group at Walpole, and this was with my Sew Fruity makes. So the first thing I'd done was I'd cut out the lovely Saguaro set, and I got to the sewing group, unpacked all my stuff, I put it all in a lovely wallet ready to sew, and then I had a problem. Now, I'd cut this pocket piece out and I went to put it on the trouser front because that's the first stage, and I realised it was too small, and what had happened was the pattern piece had folded over and I hadn't noticed it when I was cutting it out. So of course I couldn't then proceed making this one, so I had to put it away and bring it home to sew. But I'll let you know what I had to do. I made a size XL, which is what I normally make for myself, but for the top, because we didn't want it too short, I added 2 inches onto the pattern, and it was quite easy to do because I just marry it up with the fold line, and then whatever the shape is this side, if I have to slightly curve it, I just do it freehand, and that really worked for the length on her. So I had to have 2 inches because they're designed, I think it's a 5'6" model. So I really love this, and so does she. She's dying to pack this because at the moment we haven't packed her clothes that I've made her. So once I've shown you this, it's going to be whisked away quite quickly. So with the Saguaro top, when I did it originally, because I'd lengthened it by 2 inches, I forgot to think about where the tie position was going to be. The tie is actually optional, but we thought that would be a bit nicer because it was a bit gapey. So when we put it on, obviously it was still quite gapey. So what I did was I inserted another tie above it, and it really fits a lot better with that on. Plus it ties in, excuse the pun, with the trousers, because then it looks almost like the well, I would say the fleur dress by Fabric Godmother, and also a lot of tops about at the moment that have got this tie detail. So she'd said she actually liked the fleur, so when I did this it was a bonus again because it made her think of that as well. So I really like that, how that is, and it just makes it a bit more secure for her. The double gauze from Pound Fabrics is an absolute dream to sew with. It was really easy to cut out as well, and I'll show you really close up to the screen the actual print. But she really loves this set and has already asked if I can make her some more when we get back. So I'm quite happy to do that. So I also added 1 inch on the pants because she's got quite long legs. She's tall, she's 5'10", so that was all we had to do. The rest of the fitting was brilliant. I didn't have to adjust it in any way, just on the length. The next thing I made for my daughter again was from Simplicity, and it's a Simplicity 1563A, and I did view E, and I used this Squishmallow fabric I'd bought from Rainbow Fabrics a long time ago, because she was really into Squishmallows, and because it was a panel, I thought I could make her some pyjama bottoms, and that's what I was aiming to do with this. But unfortunately there wasn't enough fabric, because it is a panel. It's quite limiting on the size of fabric you've got. But I managed to make these lovely little shorts, and I managed to incorporate the watermelon that I'd shown you, so it's definitely a fruity item. And then on the back is the pineapple, and I will insert some photos of it so you can see them properly. But I've also got this lovely tie. So I took this one to Walpole with me as well, so I made sure I had two projects, and both were so fruity. And I started sewing this one up, and the first thing I did was the tie belt. And I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, I haven't got my loop turner with me, so how am I going to do it? Because it's quite a wide piece when you cut it out, but as you can see it is very narrow once you've sewn it up, because you seem to almost half it and then trim it to make it this size when you turn it. So it seems a bit of a waste of fabric really. But I wish I'd done the other way, like you do with the Saguaro pants, where you actually fold the fabric in on itself and then fold it over again and top stitch it, because I think that would have been a neater finish. But luckily one of the ladies, Jean, came to the rescue, and she had some loop turners, so I was able to do that. So I carried on sewing quite merrily, and then I thought, I've got to do buttonholes. And where I'd lent my Burnett machine to my daughter for her exams, I'd taken all the non-essential things out, because I knew she wouldn't need a buttonhole foot. And of course I hadn't put it back in my sewing bag, so I didn't have one. And I did try to do a freehand satin stitch around, but it just wouldn't go as neatly as a buttonhole would. So in the end I had someone suggest that I ask the lovely Gwen, who's got this amazing faff machine. It just happens to be purple, so even better. Ask her if she had a buttonhole foot with her, and of course she did. She's got all the gadgets, I love it. But she said to me, yeah, you can do it on here, and I just thought, oh god, no, I don't know the machine, I don't want to break it. So she really kindly did them for me, and she whizzed them up so quick that I could carry on making them. So when I said last week sewing community are the best, they just really helped me, because bearing in mind I drive an hour to the group, if I haven't got anything to sew, yes, I can chat to everyone, which I did for quite a bit anyway, but I wouldn't have been able to manage to sew anything up. So I am so grateful to them all. Thank you everyone. So my final make, my third make for the So Fruity challenge, was the Bethany Beach, I'm gonna have to read this, Bethany Beach Beauty Swimsuit by Ellie and Mac. And I was planning to use this lovely fruity print fabric from Pound Fabrics. I'd had it a long while, always intended to make a swimsuit, but I'd be honest, I was a bit worried to do it because I wasn't sure how I'd deal with the fabric and the elastic, and whether I could get the sizing right, because I know that having a long trunk length, it might need a lot of adjusting, but it was actually a lot easier than I thought. So I did this in a size XXL, and the instructions are really clear. There is a sew along, but I didn't feel I needed it. And the first thing I did, which maybe I should have listened to the instructions, was when I sewed the crotch liner on here, I used the same fabric because I'd watched Katie from Whatever Katie Sews on Instagram. She did a lovely little reel that showed you how to do the shelf liner and also the crotch liner using the same fabric. So I thought, right, I'll do the same, as it's my first swimsuit. And when I sewed it together, I was chatting at the time. I'm not going to blame anyone, so no names here. But what I did was, I didn't do it wrong sides together. I actually sewed it right sides together, and I didn't realise until I went to turn it inside out and join it, and I suddenly had, the only thing I can describe it as is a crotch pocket. So I had that on the outside of the swimsuit. Not ideal, especially as it was showing the white, so it was really obvious it was there, and you don't actually sew the back of the crotch liner either, so that's what I mean by a pocket. So I had to unpick that, but because I'd used Mariflex, it was so simple, it just pinged open, and I've had that happen since, and I've had to re-sew it. So I obviously didn't do my back stitching when I started my sewing on there. So once that was corrected, it all went smoothly. I actually recycled some bra cups from one of my old crop tops that I had. So I sewed them inside in the shelf liner, and then inside, that's what the shelf liner looks like. So it's just covering that certain area, just to give you a bit more coverage, I'd say, and support. I absolutely love it. The only thing that I found difficult was my choice of elastic. And if you watched last week's video, you'll know that I bought some rubber elastic from Little Legs Fabric, and this is why. I didn't have any. I thought that this was the right stuff because I've had this clear elastic for stabilising shoulder seams forever. It's not the stretchiest, and it's quite difficult to keep it pinned to fabric, but I somehow managed to do it, and I didn't have other lengths or other widths either. So I was stuck with what I had because I didn't want to go purchasing anything unless I really needed to. So I did persevere with it, but I used it for all of the back, which was the easy bit. The back one was the easiest bit to sew with the elastic because you just put it on and kept it taut as you sewed it. So you overlocked the edges first with the elastic on, then folded it over and top stitched. And I found that bit really easy because I didn't need to stretch the elastic to put it on. But with the armholes and the leg parts, I had to do it taut on the front side, and then on the back you had to actually stretch it to fit it, and I really had a bit of fun with that. And I know what it is, it's the elastic I chose, so I know that the next one I make, because I have actually still got enough of this fabric to do another one if I want, I know it'll be a lot easier. It will be interesting to see how this elastic fares once I've been in the pool, and I will report back to you and let you know and see what state the actual swimwear is in afterwards. So I made size XXL, like I said. So with the trunk length, the actual trunk length they have all the sizing, and they tell you what it'll be. So I've got a little calculation here somewhere. I knew I should have marked the page. And the trunk length for my size is going to be 64. So I measured myself and I come out at 71 inches. So there was a difference of 7 inches in my trunk length, which I knew I'd have to do a lengthen, but I didn't realise quite how much. And then they give you a formula to use to work out how much to add on, and I have done this in bright pink so you might be able to see it. So you divided it by the difference by 4 and it come out at 1.75 inches, and I just thought it would be easier for me to round it up and do 2 inches, and I'm glad I did because I think otherwise it might have been too short. But what you have to do then is they have these lengthen lines at the top and at the bottom. So I had to do 2 inches here and 2 inches there, and that worked out really well. Again, I married it up with the fold line for this side, so I knew where it needed to sit, and I just had to grade it in slightly there to marry it up with that shape. I didn't do the cutout this time. I'm not really keen on having a cutout near my belly, so I left that bit off and just done the full swimsuit. But I'm really happy with it, so I'm looking forward to wearing that on my holiday. And you may get to see some pictures of me actually wearing it in the pool. I'll see how I feel, but I have taken some other pictures otherwise, and I'll put them all up here for you. So that was my So Fruity makes, and I really enjoyed doing them. I love this challenge. It does push you to make some things, and I've used up my So Fruity fabric, or my fruity fabric that I feel would be suitable for the challenge. So I might have to purchase some more for next year, we'll see. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and if you don't subscribe already, I'd love you to subscribe to my channel. And if you can find some time to sew this week, make it so. Bye for now, see you soon.